The reality is most people that I run into have never raised their prices. If they've been in business for, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, they have never raised their prices. And I had one guy tell me he'd been in business for like 7 years, and he said, it's a point of pride with me. I have told my clients that I will never raise their prices. And I'm like, that is the silliest thing I've ever heard. And with all due respect, I mean, you're a fantastic professional, but your costs go up. At a minimum, you've got to think about that. But I know the work you do, and you provide much more value than what you take in price. And you deliver much more than you promise. So at a certain point, you really need to raise your price.
100%. Well, and I think too, I mean, like just using that example that you just gave, regardless of industry or niche or whatever else you might be focusing on, if you've been in business for 7 years, that's a huge milestone, right? Like that's fantastic. A lot of businesses struggle, right? And you can't go that long. But if you've been in business for 7 years, I mean, the amount of value and the quality of the work, I would have to imagine, has gone up significantly in those 7 years. And the fact that, I mean, I understand like the point of pride, I've never raised my rates. I get it, but I mean, you never raise your rates, but your profit margin goes like this. And you got to pay bills sometime, right? Like life isn't getting any cheaper. So, I mean, I totally get where you're coming from. I absolutely love what you have to say. One thing you mentioned earlier that I want to get into a little bit more is gratitude and generosity. Because I mean, I'm a huge believer in both. I think personally, that those are kind of, maybe they're getting some momentum nowadays, but I mean, I feel like for a long time in the business world, they've been kind of overlooked or just kind of sleeper tools where we don't want to give away the farm, right? And I mean, I just feel like it's so easy to overlook. Have you found that to be the case?
Oh yeah. And when I talk about generosity, let me make myself very clear.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about giving things away. Generosity's got, that's the wrong definition of generosity. In my way of thinking, generosity is about getting to thinking of the needs and concerns and wants and goals and fears of others first, and addressing them regardless of whether that benefits you in the short run or not. That's generosity. And some people call that a term you use, relationship marketing. I mean,
I've thrown that around.
That's just another way to say I believe in relationships, and I believe that relationships drive revenue. And folks, if you're in the professional services world, you are there to what? Serve. It's the root word of what you do. You're there to serve. And so that's really what we're talking about. And if you have a reputation in your region, in your industry, wherever you sit, if you have a reputation of generosity, if you have a reputation of putting others first, it will come back for you.
Yes.
And you will be seen as a professional of value, and you will be at the center of that tribe and get revenue from that tribe simply because of that reputation.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen that in my own life. Like, I mean, just show up with integrity and generosity, like you said, and I mean, eventually it will come back to you.
Yes.
One thing I'm really curious about that I want to get your opinion on, because we both have talked about relationships, quite a bit on our different shows and things. I'm a really, really big believer in relationship. Like you said, relationship drives revenue. I love that. I'm probably going to steal that phrase, just so you know. But in the last few years, particularly in my sales career, I've been reflecting a lot more because I feel like relationships is thrown around a lot in business, and as it should be, right? Like it's really, really important. But I've been reflecting after reading a sales book a while back called The Challenger Sale, where essentially they said that, yeah, relationships are important, but the salespeople that do the best are the people that have good relationships to the point where they are willing to push back on somebody, saying like, hey, Mr. Customer, I don't think this is the best option for you, or hey, Mr. Customer, based on what you've told me, I think you should do this, more expensive option. And being willing to push back on people like that. And I think, at least in reflecting in my own life, my own work, I realized that those are the highest quality relationships, in my opinion. The relationships where you are personal enough with somebody that you can have a more difficult conversation with them. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree with that. And there's a place for that with every customer, every client.
Yep.
I mean, some you go deeper than others depending on the relationship, the nature of the relationship, the length of it, and so forth. But I think there's a place with every client to say, hey, here are the three options that I've got, for example. Here are the three options, kind of a good, better, best model. You're free to pick whichever one you want. I think you're wasting your money if you pick the best.
Yeah.
And that's the one that would benefit me the most, of course, that best option at the highest price. And if you say that, you're a person of integrity, particularly if you've got a really good logical reason why that's true. And vice versa. You can say to someone, hey, you can go for that lower option, but I don't even know whether I want to sell it to you because I don't even think it's going to give you the results you're looking for. So that's being a professional of value.
Yeah.
And that's not a way or a mindset that you have to bring just to your most valuable relationships. No. You can bring that mindset everywhere.
Yeah. Well, I mean, essentially, treating everybody the same. Like one of the early lessons I learned in my sales career is that you don't want to spend your client's money for them, right? Like you don't want to assume that somebody would, because of whatever indicator you feel like you've gotten, would probably rather buy this than that, or probably wouldn't buy anything at all. Like never assume that, but I could just come with that honesty and that integrity, like you just said. And I mean, again, it'll all come back around to you eventually in the long run, I believe. Well, John, thank you so much for having us on the show, or coming on my show.
Absolutely.
It's been really, really fantastic. I know you've dropped a ton of gold nuggets for anybody listening out there that might be wondering about pricing and all of this kind of, fun and funky stuff that you and I talk about all the time.
That's right.
But if anybody out there is listening that maybe either wants to learn more about you, maybe they want to get some pricing help, or like, I know you got a book out there and your podcast. So where can they find you?
Yeah. Again, Jacob, thanks. This has been a lot of fun. The only problem with this conversation is it's too short.
Yep.
I mean, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much. For folks that want to connect with me, my email, we'll start with that, john@johnray.co. That's JOHNRAY.co. That's my website, johnray.co. Connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm always posting items of note that relate to pricing, business development, that kind of thing on LinkedIn. I'm John Ray 1 on LinkedIn. My book is called The Generosity Mindset, A Journey to Business Success by Raising Your Confidence, Value, and Prices. It all kind of works in that order.
Yep.
So you can get that book where all fine books are sold, as the old saying goes. The big Amazon behemoth, but also at your local bookstore. They'll be glad to order it if they don't have it in stock.
I love it. Well, I'll make sure to include all of that great information in the show notes so people can find you just as easy as possible. But John, thank you again so much for coming on. This has been fantastic.
Thank you so much, Jacob. I really appreciate you, and congratulations on the great work you're doing.
Thank you so much. We're doing it one step at a time, one day at a time. But John, thank you again. Again, I'll include everything in the show notes. And anybody out there listening, make sure to like, follow, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.